This conference will now be recorded.
Hello. Hello.
Listening, sir.
Radha, can you hear me? Radha Krishna. Okay. Okay. Are you taking the attendance or not? That's what my question. Kittu, are you there here? So with that student attendance, we have the Python new batch, and you just give the name of it. Okay. So here Srikanth. Okay, 25th. Now it's the 29th, right? Yeah. What are the how many students are there? Srikanth, Sri Lakshmi, Karthik Kumar, E Satyam, R Kishore, Tirupatamma, Satyavati, Jyoti. Oh, Jyoti not yet joined. Uma Devi, Swati, Kartikeya, Sandeep, Ramu, and Tirupati. Okay, fine. So please take it the each and every student attendance like this only. Okay, you are on the good track. Take it forward this one. Okay, you just take the screenshot of this particular student's names and you can update after the class. Okay. Okay, fine. So what's our last class, Uma? Uma, what is our last class?
Yes, sir.
What is our last class? Uma, what is our last class? Data types in Python programming language, right? Come on. Say yes or no. First of all, are you guys are able to hear me my voice clearly or not? If not, please let me know. Karthik,
Sorry, your voice is breaking.
don't know what happened. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
now my voice is clear, right?
Sir, your voice is
Yes.
clear, sir.
It's clear.
Go on.
Okay, fine. So my question now, what is our last class?
Our data
About
types, sir.
data types.
So in Python programming language, we have a lot of data types are there, approximately 10 data types. Those particular data types I was explained in our previous class. Is it right?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
now in this particular session, I would like to talk about the continuation or the next topic from the Python programming language. It could be a built-in functions in Python programming language. Okay. So when you are working with a Python or when you're working with the different programming languages, okay. So each and every programming language, it's having its own a specific functionalities or it's having its own methods. Okay. So those particular methods will help you to do some kind of operations. Okay, let's talk about those particular methods in this particular session. Okay. So just go to your specific folder and in one, what's your folder? It is Python. Okay, this is my previous batch, right? I would like to go for creating the one more folder, and you just rename this particular folder with the rename option. This is a Python 109 batch. You just go to here and you just go and click on the new Python 3, and I was creating the one file. So this is our class, right? So you can
Sir, your voice is
built-in
breaking, sir.
functions. This is not. Is my voice is clear or not?
No clear, sir.
Okay. Now I'm talking about a Python programming language built-in functions. Okay. So every programming language, it may have some functions which are already defined inside of the those particular programming language. So here we're talking about Python. So Python also having some functions. Python also have some predefined functions. Okay, predefined predefined functions. Let's talk about the what is function. Can anyone share it? What is function? Function means, guys, it was very simple thing. It is a subprogram. Usually, functions we need to write inside of the program. So you can say that function means it's a subprogram in a program. So you have some main program or you have some a program within that one. There is some particular part that we are calling it a subprogram. Okay. So here you already know it. The definition of the program is a collection of statements, right? Collection of statements as in block. That particular block we can call it's a function. Might be we have a lot of blocks also there, like if, else, for, no, while, and class. Different kind of blocks also you can able to define. But why the what exactly the difference of that particular blocks and function blocks? Okay, so So when you are collecting some kind of statements in one particular block, and it can be reusable, it can help you for reusability. So when you are collecting some kind of statements as one block, that particular block we can able to use in the same program in multiple situations and multiple times. That was exactly the importance of the function. And moreover, it could be reduce the code size. So the code size also you can able to reduce the code size. Okay, that means if the program having the 1,000 lines, then you can make it the program with 100 lines also when you are using the functions. Okay, so that is one of the importance of the important factor when we are using the functions. Okay, in any programming language, there are two type of functions are there. The first one is the user defined functions. User defined functions. And second one is the predefined functions. Predefined predefined functions. See, I'm not talking about the user defined functions at this moment. We'll talk after some classes. After some classes, we'll talk about the user defined functions. But in this particular session, I just want to talk about the predefined functions. Okay, so predefined functions means so some functions which are already defined inside of the Python programming language, already defined some particular functions. Those particular functions we are calling it same. Okay, so predefined functions, and from that one we need to talk about the very basic things. The first one is the input function. So when I'm talking about input function, so what is the use of this particular input function? Can anyone tell me? What is the meaning of the input function? Tell me guys, what is the input function?
It can take input from the user, sir, when running a code.
Yes, when you're writing the program, when you're executing the program, maybe you need some information. You need to give some information. Okay. Uh, Radhakrishna, you can contact to the Sushmita and inform that her student is there in the class. I'm not sure what's his name. Just a moment. I would like to send the link him as well. Okay. Yeah. So when I'm talking about input function, so input function will help you for reading the data from the keyboard. The main functionality is reading the data. Data can be anything from keyboard. Okay. So, and meanwhile, we have one more function there. The function is print function. So the print function will help you to display the data on a monitor, display purpose. Okay. And meanwhile, we have one more function is there that could be type function. With help of the type function, we can know the data type of anything, data type of anything. So, and one more function we have it that could be ID function. With help of the ID function, we can know the memory location. We can know the memory location. So let's take it a small example from the I just want to read, I just want to understand what exactly the input function. For that one, we can use the help function, and you can give the function name as an input to the help function. It can be returns the beautiful information. You can read it this one. So this is what it's a standard what it is. It's a standard input function actually. So method raw input is a model in a kernel base, and actually it's an input function, but it was working like a raw input function, and instance for raw input for front end. So you have to take it the data from the keyboard. That was the exactly the input function is doing. So if you are reading the data from the keyboard, if you're reading the data from the keyboard, that particular data I want to be holding into any one of the variable, then you can assign that input function to any one of the variable. Then what happens? It will take the data from the keyboard and the data will be assigning to the a small variable. And now I just want to print the data. I just want to print the data. What data will be there inside of the var? So whatever the data you entered, that it could be there, right? So that you can able to print it. But just try to understand. So when you're using the input function, if you want to display some message box, then you can use the string. Within the string we can write some information that it could be displayed until unless you or entered some data. After that one, what data you enter, that it could be go for holding into this particular variable, and you can able to print this particular var without any format specifier. In Python, you don't need to remember the format specifiers. Directly you can print it. But by the time of printing, just for messaging purpose, you can able to print some string. That string and this variable could be separated with a comma operator. Okay, you just execute this one. If I enter the 123, this is the integer, right? This integer, so within this particular box we can type some information and you just press enter, then it was displaying the 123 or not. In the meanwhile, what I would like to do, I would like to enter the, instead of the integer I can enter the float. The reason is that you already know it, what is integer and what is float, right? Yes, now I enter the float, even it was displaying the float only. Meanwhile, you can able to execute and you can enter the complex data. If I enter the complex data, okay, you can go with X plus YJ format, right? If I enter the X plus YJ format and it was enter the complex only, right? You can enter any data. So can you please note this example? I just wait for some time. Guys, I just wait for you and you can just copy this particular examples and you have to be execute this one in your laptop. Okay, or else at least you just need to note it in your notebook. Once it is done, please let me know. I hope it's done, right? Yeah. Now we'll go with the type and ID functions. So let's go for the type and ID functions. So I just want to print the data type of the variable. Then you just use the type of var. You just enter it now. If I enter the integer data, it was displaying something like string. You can just try to observe over here. You are enter the integer data, but it was displaying that it's a string data type. Not only this one, we just go and execute with the different data types also. Instead of the integer, I just want to I just want to read the float. If I enter the float, again, it was displaying that string data type. You just go and execute one more data type. For example, Boolean data. Okay, I just want to enter the Boolean data. Boolean means capital T R U E or else capital F A L S E, true or false, right? So if I enter the Boolean data, even though it was displaying something like it's a string data type only. So now tell me what is the functionality of the input function? You can able to go for enter any data type, the resultant data type, it could be string. That was the input function functionality. Okay, input function functionality is you can able to go with enter any data type, but the resultant data type, it could be string. Okay, clear? Just note this example. Guys, are you following my points or not? I just need some clarification. Hello, are you following or not? Karthik Naidu,
Yes, sir.
I hope you guys are following, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you just take it you just write it in your notebook, or else you can execute in your laptop. I can wait for 5 minutes. Okay, I hope you guys are understood about input function and the type function, right? But we are facing data inconsistency problem. The reason is that you are enter the boolean data, but you're getting the string data, right? If you enter the float data, again you're getting the string. So this kind of complex, this kind of issue, we are calling it a data inconsistency. When the data is an inconsistency, for that one to handle it, the data type conversion functions are there in Python. Data type conversion functions. There are different kind of data type conversion functions are there here. So what are those data type conversion functions? See, we have the int function, so it can help you to convert any data type to integer function, or else it was in a default string integer that it could be converting into the integer data type. Okay, let's take a small example. You just print the data type, and after you or enter the integer, you can try to print the data type. In the meanwhile, you can able to you can just remove this particular statement. Yeah, okay, you can just try to converting into the integer, and the int, it can be take the input int, it can take the small variable, and it could be the any data type. It was converting into the integer, and converted data I can able to holding into the same variable. That it is possible, that it could be possible. So you can execute now here. If I enter the integer, but default it's a string, default it's a string, but after I used the int function, I converted into the integer data type or not? Yes or no? Can you please confirm me? Default it's a string, that it could be converting into the integer with help of the int function. Okay, meanwhile we have the float function. We have the float function. The float function also will do the same task. If the data is the float, I just want to converting into the float data type, then but the default it's a string, that it could be converting into the float. If I use the floats, right? So default it's a string, that it was converting into the float. Okay, like that. You just go with the complex. We just go with the complex. And so I just want to write the all data type conversion functions: complex, string, and bool. These are the functions. How I used the intent float, you just go and try for use the this all functions as well. List function and tuple function. The names itself, it's a functions. It can works like a functions also. Set function and dictionary function or dict function. So can you please note this example? Data type conversion functions. I was a small example for the integer to string integer to integer, float integer to float only. But meanwhile, we have other data type functions also there. So if it is the complex integer, a complex string, that it can be converting into the complex. If the string, then I can able to converting into the string. The string bool I can converting into the bool. String list can be converting into the list. String tuple can be converting into the tuple. String set converting into the set. String dictionary also can converting into the dictionary. Okay, please note it this all in your notes, as well as if you're executing on your laptop, and you can try to please execute it. I'm just giving a time for you guys. Do it. Noted this one also. This all function names also you just note it. If I use the complex, if I enter the complex that I want to be converting into the complex data, then I can use the complex function. So if I enter the complex, this is my complex default, it's a string that it was converting into the complex data type. Okay, like this we have other functions are there, it can help you to converting into that specific data type. Do it. We just note it. Done. Hello.
Answer.
Okay, now same functions not only for converting into the string to those specific data type, it can help you to convert any data type to that particular data type. Okay, for example, if I have a float that I want to be converting into the integer, it is possible guys. For example, I just have a float data, so this is my float. You can try to print the data type of a, it is a float, right? This particular float I just want to be converting into the integer, and it will happen, you can do it actually. So here the string, the float also can converting into the integer. It is possible. Okay, like this we can have the different data types. For example, if I have a bool, let me consider bool. Okay, if my data is the bool, I just take it true is my boolean data. So it was default, it's a bool data that it was converting into the integer or not. In the meanwhile, we can try for complex. So is it possible to convert complex to integer? I think so, no. For example, this is my x plus yj format. It was complex data. If I try to convert my complex to integer, that it could not be can't convert complex to integer. So this is the what we require. So you can try to execute, you can try to convert multiple data type to the integer data type. By the time being, you can try to observe it, what will be happening, whether you're getting the type error or not. If you're getting the type error, you just note it. So this is the thing we can't converting into this one. If you're getting the value error, you can say that what exactly the value error, we can try to understand what exactly the type error. So for example, I have a string but it was float. Okay, I have a string but it was in a float. So previously we tried to convert string to float, right? A string to integer, right? It is happening, but now it's not happening. The reason is that it's a value error. The value what is there inside of the string, it is not comfortable, it is not compatible with converting into the integer. That's the reason we are getting this specific error. Okay, that's the reason we got this particular error. Type error in the sense we can't convert, but value error we can convert, but the value could be the wrong. Whatever the value we used over here, that it could be the problem for us. Okay, guys, can you hear me my voice or not?
Yes, sir.
So can you please note it these examples? Different data types to integer, meanwhile different data types to the float, different data types to the complex, and so on. We can try to execute from your end and try to observe it first of all. Okay, do it. You just noted this, just note it. I hope you guys are done. You can try to convert different data types to the integer, and by the time you might be getting some errors. And the same way, you can try to convert different data types to the float with help of the float function, and so on. Take it these two examples. So fine, this is the today's concept. I hope we done it. Python basic built-in functions actually. By tomorrow class, what we will do, we will see somewhat Python operators like arithmetic operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, and special operators. And we have a lot of other operators are also there. So let's discuss those particular operators by tomorrow's lecture. Okay. Take care, guys. Bye. See you.